So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hernando Rojas, Director of the School of Journalism and Mass Communication. And on behalf of the school, I want to welcome you all to our annual awards ceremony. In 2020, we postponed our celebration, naively thinking that we would be able to give the 2020 awards relatively soon. And of course, this didn't happen. The good news, though, is that that means today we have double the fun when we celebrate both our 2020 and our 2021 award winners. So welcome awardees, welcome families, friends, faculty, and staff. Now, if you're 21 or older, this might be the moment where you pour yourself a glass of wine, you sit back, you relax, and you enjoy the achievements of the SJMC family. In some circles, referred to as the SJMC Mafia, but I'm not going to get into that. Now, what a year this has been. Social unrest, an assault on the US Capitol, a pandemia, and of course, many of these challenges will persist. As a country, we need to deal with justice and police reform. We need to deal with increasing inequality. We need to deal with climate change. We need to deal with migration pressures. And these are not simple issues to solve. But when I look at the group that has assembled here tonight, I feel confident about our future. I'm convinced that in moments of flux, it's particularly important to step back and celebrate those that through their day-to-day professional activities and acts of kindness are agents of change in their schools, their communities, their organizations. And that is what today is about. It is a celebration of Badger accomplishments, and if you indulge me a little bit in bragging, a celebration of SJMC and its contribution to your extraordinary careers. For our younger awardees, an initial salvo to what we expect will also be extraordinary careers. So without further ado, let me start by presenting our Nafziger Award winners. The Ralph O. Nasager Award is presented for distinguished achievement within 10 years of graduating from the undergraduate program. Our 2020 Nafziger Award winner is Jacob Kushner. Jacob is a foreign correspondent who writes magazines and other long-form articles from Africa, Germany, and the Caribbean. His articles have appeared in dozens of publications, including the New York Times, the Atlantic, the New Yorker. He's originally from Milwaukee. He graduated from UW-Madison in 2010 with a BA in journalism and a BA in Latin American, Caribbean, and Iberian studies. So let's listen to some words from Jacob.
Hey UW, this is Jacob Kushner in Kenya. On my way to learn how geothermal power works at a power plant here. But in the way I'm passing through a conservancy, so I thought I'd take the time to send a video to thank the university, not just for this award, which I'm very grateful for, but also more importantly for giving me the tools and just inspiring me more than anything to pursue a career as a foreign correspondent here based in East Africa. I wanted to take, although I'm reporting a lot on wildlife these days and science, I think the stories that stick with me the most are the stories I report on people. Often these are immigrants, whether it's people in, dairy farm workers in Wisconsin, Mexican immigrants who come to the United States and find jobs in Wisconsin, or whether it's LGBTQ refugees in Africa here who flee the police or their families because of who they are or who they love. I've been trying to tell the stories of immigrants around the world and sort of the persecution they face. So I thought I'd take a minute to share their stories with you. I've more recently been reporting on extremism, violence against immigrants because of the color of their skin and that sort of thing. I started that in Germany, looking at asylum seekers from Syria and Afghanistan who risked their lives to go to Europe to try to find peace and instead found themselves attacked by white supremacists there in Europe. And of course, Wisconsin, the United States, but even Wisconsin is no stranger to violence against immigrants. In 2012, there were a white Wisconsin man launched a suicide attack against a Sikh temple in Oak Creek, killing 6 Indian Americans there. And more recently, in 2019, a white Wisconsin man threw acid at an immigrant from South America in Milwaukee and told him that you guys are invading. You came here to invade. That's a sentiment I hear around the world, and the reason I share that with you is because the immigrants and refugees who I do interview around the world, they don't want people to forget the sort of persecution they face along the way, either in the countries they're from, or on their journeys, or even in the destination countries they reach, such as the United States. So I want to thank, above all, I want to thank them, those immigrants, for sharing with me their stories and making a lot of the reporting that I do possible. And I hope that we're able to remember their stories. That's what they ask of us. As for this award, I do want to thank the J School so much. There's so many people who encouraged me during my time at Madison. To name a few names, there's Lou Friedland, Jack Mitchell, Katie Culver, Pat Hastings, Andy and Dee Hall at the WCIJ, Mike Halloran, my high school newspaper advisor in Milwaukee, who helped me get me interested in journalism in the first place, Scott Strauss at UW at the Political Science Department, and Jim Boffman, of course, who always encouraged me to pursue the journalism that's most important around the world. So thank you all for your encouragement. And I'd also like to thank the university at large for supporting international studies, encouraging students to pursue foreign languages, as I did, international relations. That's the sort of thing that allowed me to kind of pursue this career abroad. I also want to thank the publications at UW, in Madison rather, that allowed me to get my start as a journalist. Those are the Daily Cardinal, the Wisconsin Center for Investigative Journalism, and La Comunidad News. So here's wishing all of you J School students and all of you graduates the best of luck as you pursue your careers, be it in Wisconsin or anywhere around the world, and hope to see you out there. Thank you.
And our 2021 Nafziger Award winner is Rachel Dickens. Rachel is the marketing communications manager at Molson Coors. She has spent the past decade pursuing the belief that every organization needs a savvy communications practice in order to thrive. She was recognized by Adweek as one of Chicago's rising brand stars in 2017. She received her BA in journalism in 2011. So let's hear a few words from Rachel.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Dickens. I'm the recipient of this year's Ralph O. Nafziger Award. And I wanted to start off by saying thank you so much to the faculty and staff of the SJMC for recognizing my short career so far and wanting to celebrate those achievements. When I got the email from Professor Rojas late last year saying that I had been selected as this year's Nafziger recipient, I was definitely in disbelief, and also just overwhelmed with gratitude that the school where I really found my passion was in turn giving that love back to me and celebrating what I've achieved in the past decade. It's interesting because for a lot of people who choose a career in PR, myself included, you specifically want to be able to influence messaging, craft the right thing to say, all while not having to be the one to actually get up in front of the camera or a large group and deliver that message. So accepting this recognition and this award through a video message is, I think, giving me a lot of empathy for the influencers and YouTubers and thought leaders that I support every day in my role, but also kind of an interesting role reversal where most of my career and what I'm being recognized for today is my behind the scenes work. So at the risk of going on a PR diatribe, because I'm sure no one wants that, I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about how I've gotten where I am and the support that I got from the SJMC along the way. When I started off at Madison in 2007, I actually entered college as a pre-law major. And for a hot second, I was majoring in poli-sci, potentially with some background in communications or writing. I bopped around a little bit. I thought I wanted to study film for a while. And all the while I was, for some reason, almost magnetically hesitant to take J201 and apply to the journalism school. I am the daughter of an English professor. I come from a family of journalists and writers and communicators. And I think there was a part of me that wanted to rebel against that a bit. But when push came to shove and I had literally 3 semesters to complete the J School program and still graduate within 4 years, I put my pride aside, I applied to the J School, I took J201, and it was, I can say unequivocally, one of the best decisions that I ever made. I still love to see professors like Professor Devon Shah and Katie Culver celebrating the work of journalism students on their own social media accounts. And it's been incredible to see the paths of some of my fellow graduates, including everyone else who's being honored here today. So for all of those aimless potential journalists and potential communicators out there, I would just like to say that this school is an incredible top-notch program and one that will really support your career path no matter where you decide to take it. So with that, I'll wrap up. Thank you so much again for the recognition. And I wish I could be there to celebrate with all of you in person, but can't wait to get back to Madison soon. Thank you.
Congratulations, Jacob and Rachel. Next, we will be presenting the Baughman Senior Achievement Awards. The James Boffman Senior Achievement Award is presented to graduating seniors for outstanding academic, professional, and community service. This award is named after our dear friend, colleague, longtime iconic professor, former director of the School of Journalism, Jeff Baughman, who passed away a few years back. The 2020 Baughman Senior Achievement Award winners are Shaloa Coley, Anna de Mendoza, Samantha Jones, Jackie Moshley, Lily Oberstein, and Josie Sindler. Congratulations to you all. Now, the 2021 Baughman Senior Achievement Award winners are Johnny Buildings, Sam Beisman, Celia Golad, Alexandra Millette, Amanda Misira, and Abigail Sternberg. Congratulations to you all. I'm always very proud of our undergrad students and their dedication, ingenuity, creativity. One great example of a strong commitment to social justice through journalism is The Black Voice. The Black Voice is currently working on a documentary about their alumni, and one featured alum, filmmaker Marquise Mays, shared with us some remarks about the impact of The Black Voice on his careers. Let's hear from Marquise.
What's up, everyone? My name is Marquise Mays, and I am a filmmaker and educator from the great city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm also an alumni of University of Wisconsin-Madison, class of 2018, where I graduated with a degree in the School of Journalism and a double major in communication arts. So yeah, I'm here to talk about The Black Voice. The Black Voice is such a beautiful, thoughtful, and meaningful organization on campus, and it truly provided a gratifying experience throughout my 4 years at Madison. The first film I really did where I was just like, yeah, I think I want to do this for the rest of my life was with The Black Voice. The Black Voice is a testament not only to students being dedicated to telling our stories, but it was dedicated to students telling the stories that we feel are the most important in the way that we want to tell them, whether that be through documentary, whether that be through podcasting or vlogging or writing fashion blogs, whatever medium finds us. That's the medium we take and we push through The Black Voice. And to have such a beautiful and honest and transparent support system as we did, where people are all just throwing in ideas and all just gravitating towards things that can only really discuss and document the Black life and the Black experience at UW-Madison was something that I will never trade for the world. A lot of the art practice that I have now is based on what I learned when I was co-editor with Nia, and based when I was following under Lexi and when I was following under Jordan. Like, a lot of that practice of art is from not only the Black students on campus, but the Black women who really put so much effort into making The Black Voice what it is today. So I just want to say congratulations to The Black Voice on all of the success. You're part of a beautiful legacy of creators and makers and movers and shakers, and that's something to be proud of. So continuing the legacy is always so beautiful to watch and witness and see, and I'm very, very proud of the students who are leading it now, who are moving it forward. So congratulations to The Black Voice. Love y'all, and peace out.
Thank you, Marquise. Thank you, Black Voice team. And by the way, keep an eye on the Black Voice first print magazine. It came out today, capturing the culture, and also to their social media feeds for updates about this documentary. Now I'm going to turn to introduce Professor Emerita and former Director of the School of Journalism and Mass Communication, Sharon Dunwoody, who will present our next award. This award was actually named after Sharon for her many contributions to the school, but in particular, her mentoring of graduate students.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Sharon.
All right, we're off and running. In 2019, the journalism school created the Sharon Dunwoody Early Career Award to recognize distinguished achievement in teaching and research within 5 to 10 years of graduation from our doctoral program. It was humbling to be chosen as this award's namesake, but I truly appreciate its intent. Like many of us on the faculty, I've long promoted the idea of recognizing young scholars, as such acknowledgement can serve as a wonderful catalyst for one's career. Today, we're delighted to recognize 4 scholarly stars over the course of a couple years of selection. So here goes. Lucy Atkinson is an associate professor in the Stan Richards School of Advertising and Public Relations in the Moody College of Communication at the University of Texas at Austin. Her research looks at communication in the context of sustainability and the environment, with an emphasis on the ways in which message elements influence knowledge, attitudes, and behaviors. Lucy is a senior faculty research affiliate within the UT Center for Media Engagement in the Moody College, and a faculty affiliate with a host of other operations on campus. She's also won several teaching awards. A former journalist, she received her MA at New York University and her PhD from UW-Madison. Congratulations, Lucy.
Thank you so much for this. It is really an honor to be named a recipient of the Sharon Dunwoody Award. It's also quite unexpected. When I first got the email from Hemant notifying me about the award, I initially thought it was a fundraising email. The subject header said UW J School Award, and I thought I was being asked to donate money to a new award or a scholarship. And I thought, sure, I'm happy to contribute to such a worthy cause. So I clicked on the email, and you can imagine my surprise when I realized Hemant's email was actually letting me know that I'd been selected as a 2020 recipient. But it really is an honor to be selected, and I'm thrilled to be in the company of other recipients, past and present, including Emily Raga, Stephanie Edgerly, and Jason Shepard. The award is given to recognize teaching and research within 10 years of graduation. And I can't believe it's been that long since we were all at Vilas. Back then, I had no idea I'd end up here at the University of Texas at Austin in an advertising department, no less. As a former newspaper reporter, advertising was the dark side, an evil force. But the fact that this former newspaper reporter can credibly teach and appreciate advertising speaks to the amazing education and training I got in Vilas at the J School. I never thought I'd become a professor. Indeed, my decision to pursue a PhD was made impulsively and without a lot of careful planning. It was the decision to quit my job in New York and move to Madison, sight unseen, is probably the least well thought out decision I've ever made, but also one of the best. I'm immensely grateful for the experiences and opportunities the J School has given me. Thank you to the faculty who saw potential in me and helped me become the professor I am today. Devon Shaw, Lou Friedland, Doug McLeod, Hernando Rojas, Jim Boffman, Michelle Nelson, Hemant Shaw, and of course, Sharon Dunwoody. Thank you.
That's right. We need those little hand clapping icons, don't we? It's good to see Lucy. Our next award winner is Emily Raga, who's an associate professor in the Hubbard School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Minnesota, where she holds the Don and Carol Larson Professorship in Health Communication. Her research focuses on how people come to understand news and information about contentious health, science, and political issues, and especially how people navigate both disagreement about these issues and misinformation about them in social media. Before arriving at Minnesota, Emily had completed a postdoc at George Washington University and had spent 7 years at George Mason University. Something of a research powerhouse, she's already published nearly 60 articles in the peer-reviewed literature, and I counted another 10 in press. Emily is truly a UW-Madison intellectual product, as she earned the BA, the MA, and the PhD from UW-Madison. Hearty congratulations, Emily.
Hello. I wish I could be with you all tonight celebrating this. And I wanted to say just how grateful I am to receive this award. Sharon Dunwoody represents the best of academia, a commitment to being a good colleague, to doing high quality research, and to sharing our knowledge with the world, to improving the world. These are values that the J School reinforced every day that I was there. I'm grateful I had the opportunity to meet so many wonderful mentors, colleagues, and friends. The relationships I built in the J School continue to buoy me today. The support of my friends, my colleagues, my co-authors, my mentors mean more to me today than they ever have. The J School also provided the rigorous foundation that I needed, that prioritized asking the right questions and figuring out the best way to answer them, wherever that might lead us. Recognizing the ways in which theory informs practice and the places in which we need more theory to give us answers to the practical questions that are plaguing our world, showcases the ways in which we can represent and give back to the communities that support us. My time at the J School will always be special to me. I hope I can continue to represent these values that the J School taught me to aspire to. Thank you for providing a foundation for me and for so many other scholars to contribute. And thank you again for this award.
Good work, Emily, and welcome back to the Midwest. For our 2021 winners, Namjoon Lee is an associate professor in the Department of Communication at the College of Charleston. His research concerns the role that political communication plays in our civic and political lives, with a particular focus on how ingesting news from both traditional and new media influences the ways in which people understand politics, formulate political judgments, and participate in the political process. Prior to joining the faculty at the College of Charleston, he served as a research fellow on a project funded by the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation that explored the role of digital media in promoting civic and political engagement among young people. A former television journalist from South Korea, Dr. Lee got his MA and his PhD from the University of Wisconsin in Madison. So congratulations, Namjoon.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for this award. I'm truly honored to be recognized by the J School. And it's particularly thrilling to receive an award named in Dr. Dunwoody's honor. But most especially, thanks to the J School faculty and staff, including my mentors, Doctors Doug McLeod, Devon Shaw, and Jack McLeod, and also my fellow graduate students who are around the program with me, including my fellow recipients of this award, Lucy, Emily, and Kirsten. And being able to spend time with you in the program was a great privilege, and what I learned from you, alongside you, was an inspiration that keeps me motivated even today. Back then, my faculty advisor, my friend Doug McLeod, used to say, if you go to a place outside the J School, like National Academic Conference, or if you visit different graduate programs for some time, you can easily recognize how special, how unique, how advanced and cutting edge our graduate program is. And I've stayed outside the program for a decade now, and I'm all the more convinced that's exactly true. Personally, I've tried very hard to regenerate my experience at the J School, or at least partially simulated in my own classrooms in the department where I'm working, but I realize every day how hard it is to create such an environment that is intellectually stimulating, but at the same time that is caring, collaborative, and dynamic. It requires not just a few dedicated faculty or staff, much more than that. I haven't cracked a secret code for this yet, but I can say this much. You have created a special place that makes me feel that my decision to quit my job as a television journalist in Seoul, South Korea, and move to Madison, Wisconsin almost 2 decades ago was one of the best decisions I have ever made in my life. Again, I'm so grateful to you. I'm so proud to be a J School alum. I hope to be able to see you in person somewhere soon. Thank you and take care.
Our final winner is Kirsten Thorson, who's an associate professor in the College of Communication Arts and Sciences at Michigan State University and director of graduate studies in the Department of Advertising and Public Relations. Her research explores how social media platforms are reshaping the visibility of news and politics and the democratic consequences of information inequality, especially among young people. Recent research projects have investigated political use of Facebook, the spread of climate change communication on social media, and the contributions of media use in shifting the conceptions of politics among young adults. She's the recipient of the Michigan State University Teacher Scholar Award. Dr. Thorson received her MA from the University of Missouri and her PhD from UW-Madison. As many of you know, Kirsten is the daughter of Professor Esther Thorson, a former colleague here at UW, who is also at Michigan State. I know she's on the line. Esther is a formidable scholar who runs rings around most of us. I remember years ago when Kirsten was pondering a career path, I was tempted to urge her to do anything but mass comm research to avoid the inevitable generational comparison. Thankfully, she ignored my psychic pleas, and it is wonderful to see her succeed so masterfully in her own right. Congratulations, Kirsten.
Hi, and thank you. I am so honored to receive a Sharon Dunwoody Early Career Award. In fact, as everyone knows, to be associated with the amazing Dr. Dunwoody in any way is probably the best thing that can happen to a person. So again, I'm very grateful. I'm also really grateful for my time at Wisconsin. When I was in graduate school, I learned how to be a scholar, of course, to do research and collect data, to write papers, to try to convince people to publish those papers and to read those papers. But I've also learned during that time a few lessons that have also been really, really important in my career that aren't really about research at all. The first of those is that a great scholar is generous with time, with opportunities, with ideas, with mentorship. And I think no one exemplifies that better than my own advisor, Dr. Devan Shah. So thank you for that. Second, that great scholars collaborate. We work together. We play with each other's ideas. We work across methods. We invent across traditional subdomains and subdisciplines that try to keep us apart. I learned a lot about that at Wisconsin through all of my collaborations during that time and since then. And I firmly believe, although I'm a little bit biased, that many of the great problems of our time can be seen as fundamentally communication problems, and they're ours to think about and wrestle with. And there's so many exciting opportunities for collaboration yet to come. And the third is that you can be a serious person and do serious work and still have fun. We work so hard as professors, as scholars, but even so, we have such a privilege to be a bunch of curious weirdos who just get to work hard to try to figure out our phenomena, our sliver of the world, and then try to persuade other people that we figured it out the right way. It's an amazing experience. So that when you leave graduate school, I think you realize that that culture of collaboration, of collegiality, of fun is kind of a rare and magical thing. And I think that's the reason that myself and so many people that I went to school with really invest in trying to bring pieces of that Wisconsin culture wherever they go, and to bring that experience for our own students and our colleagues, and to continue it for ourselves. So thank you all for the mentorship that so many of you have given me over the years. And thank you for this honor. I hope we all see each other in person again soon. Have a great day.
Thank you, Sharon, and congratulations to our award winners. For the next section, I would like to introduce Professor Karen Riddle, our Director of Graduate Students, who will present our next set of awards. Welcome, Karen.
Can you all hear me? All right. Thank you so much, Hernando. It is my distinct pleasure to announce 2 awards designated for our graduate students. First, I'd just like to acknowledge that all of our graduate students have gone above and beyond this past year, both in terms of their jobs as teaching assistants and in their service to the department, in their research, in their classes, especially in light of the stress and the demands of the pandemic. And we're forever grateful for them. And tonight we're going to be honoring a select few for special distinction, to use Kirsten's words, this next generation of brilliant weirdos. First, I'm going to be presenting the SJMC Teaching Excellence Award, which acknowledges outstanding and inspirational teaching performance. Because we didn't have a ceremony last year, I'm going to be acknowledging last year's recipients. So the 2020 Teaching Excellence Awards recipients were Jordan Foley, Soo-Yun Kim, Xerxes Minosher, Brandon Storley, and Ran Tao. So please join me in congratulating the 2020 recipients of this prestigious award, several of whom are now alums. Next up, I have the 2021 Teaching Excellence Award recipients. Please join me in acknowledging Ian Pachavi, Xuan Liu, Griffin Loya, Matt Minnick, and Arina Tavelaneva. Congratulations to the 2021 Teaching Excellence Award recipients. We have a lot of really excellent teaching assistants in our department, so to be honored for this is truly an acknowledgement. Next up, I would like to honor the SJMC Leadership Award, which we award for outstanding service and leadership. In particular, this tends to go to the organizers of our annual Communication Crossroads Conference, which is an annual conference completely run by graduate students, where they share their research with the students that we're trying to recruit each year. Again, because we didn't have a ceremony last year, I'd like to first acknowledge the 2020 leadership recipients. They are Kiran Bhatia, Carlos Davalos, Kruthika Kamath, Brian Lepine, and Griffin Loya. So congratulations to the 2020 leadership recipients. And then finally, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot Xinyi Wang. Is Xinyi here? Do I see Xinyi? It was on, I'm sorry, it was on the second page. I missed Xinyi. Our final award are the 2021 Leadership Award recipients, and they had the unenviable task of planning crosswords in a pandemic and running an entirely online conference, and it was magnificent. That it would be Kiran Bhatia, Kruthika Kamath, Jisoo Kim, Brian Lepine, and Griffin Loya. Congratulations to the 2021 Leadership Award recipients.
Thank you, Karen, and congratulations to all our award winners. Next, I would like to present the recipients of the Harold Nelson Award. The Harold Nelson Award is presented for distinguished contributions to research in journalism and mass communication education. The 2020 recipient is William Cheap Evelyn, and to introduce Chip, we have Professor Douglas McLeod.
All right, hi everybody. I was first made aware of Chip Evelyn when my University of Delaware colleague, Betsy Purse, came to me with an excited look on her face saying, "You've got to meet this brilliant undergrad who's interested in political communication." Well, we eventually hired Chip for a survey project we were doing during the 1990 Gulf War. Chip and I hit it off right away, even though I didn't share his passion for cars, guns, and conservative politics. When he entered the University of Delaware master's program, we began an extensive research collaboration, often pulling all-nighters to finish our projects, frequently pausing to argue about politics. I also remember discussing Chip's interest in another graduate student named Amy, who was one of the smartest and funniest graduate students I have ever met. They eventually married, and Amy's sense of humor, no doubt, had a large role in making that marriage successful. I'd like to claim that I taught Chip everything he knows, but to do that, I had to send him to the University of Wisconsin doctoral program. Well, what did Chip teach me in return? How to fish backwater creeks of the Eastern Shore? Failure. How to appreciate the subtle humor of Rush Limbaugh? Failure. How to shoot a potato cannon? Epic failure. Despite his failure to indoctrinate me into the culture and politics of the Eastern Shore, Chip has gone on to a stellar career as a scholar of political communication at The Ohio State University. He has published 84 refereed journal articles, probably more than that by now, and received numerous top paper awards. He is a world-renowned expert on public opinion and media effects on knowledge, participation, political polarization, and racial divisions. Chip has been honored as an AJMC Kriegbaum Under 40 Award winner, as a fellow of the International Communication Association, and now as a Harold L. Nelson Award winner. Here to demonstrate his prowess with potato cannon is William Chip Evelyn.
I just want to thank everyone tonight. I'm really so honored to be given the Harold L. Nelson Award. And it's cool to see my name there in the list with my former 1990s PhD student colleagues, Patricia Moy and Paul Vokes, as well as my colleague at UC Santa Barbara, Steve Chafee. It's been over 20 years since I turned my key in Vilas Hall, but I still remember my time at Wisconsin really clearly. And it really began in the University of Delaware, where Doug McLeod was actually my master's advisor. And he really set the stage for my career and set the direction of where I was going. And part of that was sending me to the University of Wisconsin to work on my PhD with his father, Jack McLeod. Jack was really kind of the beacon that so many of us followed and tried to pattern our careers after. We worked hard in the MCRC late at night, trying to make sure that we wouldn't disappoint Jack on Friday afternoon when we would have our MCRC meetings and report back to him what we had found with our data analysis or what kind of progress we had made on our papers. We all really kind of just wanted to grow up and be just like Jack, although probably none of us really were arrogant enough to imagine that we would ultimately accomplish any of the sorts of things that Jack had done in terms of his contributions to the field. But just the fact that he was there and we could work with him made us better. It made us aspire to more. There were so many other people during my time at Wisconsin that were so important in shaping me and contributing to my career. Michael Fow, who passed away in 2009, Al Gunther, and although she might not realize it, Jackie Hitchen, all played an important role in shaping who I was as an intellectual, as a teacher, and as a faculty member. And I should also mention Sharon Dunwoody, who I really only started to interact with as I was finishing up and leaving Wisconsin. I really do appreciate the Nelson Award, and I only wish that I would be there with you in person to gather together and to celebrate, maybe on the 5th floor of Vilas Hall, and then ultimately over at the Union for a little J901D. But that's going to have to wait for another time, I'm afraid. But what will not wait is my own celebration. Cheers, and thank you very much. Good, but it would have been better on the Union.
Congratulations, Chip, and thank you, Doug. The The 2021 Nelson Award winner is Annie Lang, and to introduce Annie is Professor Sijia Yang.
Okay, can you hear me okay? All right, hello everyone. It's my great honor to introduce to you tonight the winner of the 2021 Harold Nelson Award, Dr. Annie Lan. Dr. Lan is currently a distinguished professor of communication science and cognitive science at Indiana University, an alum of the J School and a pioneer and really the driving force behind the dynamic human-centered perspective to study communication and persuasion. At some point in grad school, I think every student of media psychology probably will read Dr. Lan's very influential limited capacity model of motivated mediated message processing, including myself. So I found it particularly challenging, even just trying to summarize in a few sentences, Dr. Lan's massive contributions to the fields of media psychology and mass communication, which will certainly go beyond the 100 academic publications Dr. Lan has already authored, almost $3 million in grants, editorship at a flagship journal such as Media Psychology, and her mentorship that has nurtured generations of junior scholars. Dr. Lan is also winner of AEGMC's Cranbaum Award, a fellow of ICA, and a recipient of a Stephen Chaffee Career Productivity Award. The Harold Nelson Award presented tonight is an overdue recognition of Dr. Lan's accomplishments and services to the field. Congratulations, Dr. Annie Lan.
Annie, thank you so much for giving me the privilege of reading your remarks. I'm Professor Katie Culver, and I hope that I will do them justice. So Annie writes, thank you so much for honoring me with this award. As I look at the list of past honorees, I see a review of all the people, mentors, teachers, co-authors, and fellow students with whom I have worked over my career. Who would have ever thought that I would be on this list? I'm sure none of my professors from my undergraduate days would have ever expected me to be here. In the spring of 1980, after 5 years as a lackadaisical undergraduate, I asked the university advisors what I could major in so as to graduate in May. They said chemistry, mathematics, or journalism. I chose journalism, probably because the classes were easier at a better time of day or something like that. I did graduate that May, but not as a standout. My favorite memory of my undergraduate days is Mark Miller. I took his news writing course and got mostly B's on my assignments. When final grades came out, I got a C. I actually went and asked him why he gave me a C, and he said, because you weren't trying, which of course was entirely true. Fast forward 3 years, during which I worked as a waitress while writing a novel, moved to Florida, got a job at the Gainesville Sun selling advertising, decided working was not for me and applied to graduate school at the University of Florida School of Journalism and Mass Communication. They let me in on probation, where I met Marianne Ferguson, a recent UW-Madison PhD and a truly great educator. Side note, you should give her this award. I fell in love with mass communication research. I got my MA and found myself back in Madison studying with Byron Reeves, Esther Thorson, and Steve Chaffee. Wow, what a blast, except for the winters. I had so much fun. I learned so much. I was so excited to be part of a team that was discovering stuff nobody knew. I was lucky enough to land a job with another great UW graduate, Alex Tan, at Washington State University, where I set up my first psychophysiology lab and started discovering stuff on my own and with my own students. That was also a blast and lasted for the next 38 years. 7 great years at Wazoo, and then another 26 and a half at Indiana University. Looking back, I feel so lucky that it did work out. I didn't plan it, and I can't say I made particularly wise choices along the way, but I did find a career that provided me with years of fun and excitement. How many people can honestly say that? Of course, I am the laziest person I know, quote, too lazy to fail, to quote Robert Heinlein. So despite all that fun I was having, I have just embarked on the career I was really born for, retirement. So thanks to you all for the education, the opportunities, and the award. I hope to see you around, maybe by the pool with a cool drink.
Thank you, Katie, and congratulations, Annie. Our students benefit from the generosity of our alumni and friends. Each year, we like to highlight one of the named scholarships winners and recognize the impact scholarships make for our students. This year alone, for example, we awarded 178 scholarships for over $200,000. Today, we want to highlight the John Waldman Scholarship. The 2021 recipient of the John Waldman Scholarship is Aaron Gretzinger. Here to speak a bit about John Waldman is Owen Ullman, John's longtime friend and colleague.
I met John Waldman 50 years ago in Madison. It was the start of a lifelong friendship until John's death in 2019. John, who graduated from UW-Madison in 1972, was not only a great friend, he was a superb journalist. He was born actually into the profession. His father, Murphy Waldman, was the longtime publisher of the Wisconsin State Journal. John was a no-nonsense journalist. He embodied the very best qualities of our profession as he rose from a reporter in the Associated Press Bureau in Detroit, where we first worked together, to the AP Washington bureau chief and eventually executive editor of the wire service. He spent the last 12 years as editor and publisher of the Detroit News until his death. As a reporter and also as an editor, John always pursued accurate, fair, balanced, and comprehensive reporting. And he only sought out the truth of an issue. You know, he had a keen ability to detect BS from his sources, and I must admit, even his friends, I couldn't put anything over on him. He was honest, he was transparent, and he demanded the same from others. He gave everyone a chance to tell their side of the story, and he was also committed to giving voice to the poor, the disenfranchised, and the victims of discrimination. As a manager, John was committed to diversity long before it became common in newsrooms. He hired, he mentored, and he promoted talented people of color and women. His legacy is rich, and we should be proud to follow the example he set as a journalist, a husband, a father, and a dear friend. I hope that the John Paley Waldman Memorial Scholarship will help enshrine his great accomplishments for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Owen, and congratulations, Aaron. Next, we'd like to present the Distinguished Service Award. This award is presented for distinguished service to the field of journalism and mass communication. The 2020 Distinguished Service Award winners are Pete Marino, Karen Walsh, and Ali Selango. Pete Marino is the president of Emerging Growth for Molson Coors Beverage Company. He holds an MBA from the Anderson School at UCLA and a BA in journalism from SJMC. He's a diehard Badgers fan and credits his time in Madison as instrumental in his development. Let's hear from Pete.
It's quite an honor to accept this award from a place that means so much to me. Anyone who knows me knows how much I bleed Badger red. Before I begin, first let me say thank you to this wonderful university. It's a special place filled with wonderful people who value intellectual curiosity, progress, and it's an inspiration for all who capitalize on the richness of the experience here. I would also like to thank the Journalism School and all the wonderful faculty who do such a terrific job of preparing students for the real world. Professors Rojas, Shaw, Pierce, and Culver are but a few of the world-class faculty that Badger J School students are privileged and honored to learn from, and whom I've enjoyed getting to know over the years. Now, I've hired dozens of Badger J School alums in my day, and they are well prepared, they are ambitious, they are smart and curious. I love hiring Badgers. And I would be remiss if I didn't also thank Professors Bob McChesney, James Hoyt, and the incomparable Jim Boffman for the impact that they had on me when I was a student here. Finally, I must thank my family for all their love and support along the way. Now, I arrived on this campus in the fall of 1990, both anxious and eager and scared and intimidated. As the first person in my family to go to it and then graduate from college, I didn't have a playbook passed down to me about what to do or what to expect. So I dove in head first, and I met wonderful, diverse friends, and I learned, I grew, and I expanded my worldview. I wrote for the Daily Cardinal. I was provoked and intellectually stimulated by my professors. I listened to amazing speakers from all walks of life. In fact, I remember a speech at the Union from rapper KRS-One, whom I had little in common with, but I went to learn and to open my eyes to a different point of view. And that's what college is about. It's about growth. It's about new perspectives. It's about openness. It's about debate and dialogue and ultimately respect. It's about embracing a different point of view, not demonizing it. And it's what our nation should be about. Unfortunately, today we're going in a different direction far too often. And so we need institutions like this one to train our students to reverse the polarity and the separateness that we are currently being defined by. So please keep pushing forward, keep training tomorrow's leaders, keep stoking their curiosity, keep challenging them, and keep teaching them how to always seek and advance the truth. Keep preparing them to make the world a better place and keep making this special place even more special. I left campus upon graduating in 1994, but I've never strayed too far from what makes Madison great. I am forever proud to be a Badger. I am forever proud to be a Badger J School alum, and I am so honored to receive this award. So thank you very much. On Wisconsin.
Karen Walsh is director of the Berbee Walsh Foundation, a family foundation dedicated to human and animal health and welfare. She serves on the UW System Board of Regents. Native of Columbus, Wisconsin, Walsh holds bachelor's and master's degrees in journalism from SJMC. She also serves on a number of other boards, including the Board of Visitors at the UW-Madison School of Veterinary, the Madison Cat Project, and the Access Community Health Center's Community Partners Board. Let's hear from Karen.
First of all, I'd like to thank the School of Journalism for this amazing honor. You know, the school is really where I learned to hone my writing skills, to ask good questions and not settle for shallow answers. And while it's been many years since I was a working reporter, those skills have served me well in my career ever since. You know, if the last 4 years have taught us anything, it's the importance of creative and determined reporting by people who were educated with the same journalistic principles that we learned here at the school. I'm so proud to be an alum of the School of Journalism at Wisconsin. Keep up the good work, and on Wisconsin.
And Ali Selango is Senior Vice President, Strategic Initiatives of NBC News. In this role, she's responsible for creating and driving major efforts that further the strategic goals of the news division. Ali is an active board member of City Year New York. She received her BA in journalism from SJMC in 1993 and has served as chair of the School Board of Visitors. Let's hear from Ali.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for this dazzling honor. I first want to dedicate it to my late great dad, who was ecstatic about my enrollment at UW. He even subscribed to Madison Magazine to stay current about what was happening around town, and we lived in Connecticut at the time. I also want to dedicate it to our beloved, the late great Professor Jim Boffman, whose class was formative for me and who kept me connected to the school for many years after graduation. I have vivid memories standing outside the Nafziger room, staring at the distinguished service portraits on the wall, both as a student and later as a Board of Visitors member run by Professor Boffman. And it's just mind-blowing to me to think my picture will now hang on that wall, joining so many others who I admire, including my fellow honorees today. Huge congratulations to all of you. I really have the J School to thank for building the foundation of my career. I learned so much about the fundamentals of journalism, starting with the inverted pyramid, through reporting, through magazine making, which really served me well in those 15 years that I worked in the magazine business, and everything in between. And in this era, when journalism has perhaps never been more essential, and when good writing is sadly being overtaken by hashtags and emojis, these skills are needed more than ever. I also credit UW-Madison with giving me the tools to be a critical thinker. So in that vein, here's my critical thought to share with all of you. We all know the tremendous value of our J School, the brilliant faculty, the rigorous academics, the cutting edge research, the thriving Center for Journalism Ethics run by my dear friend and mentor, Katie Culver. But the truth is, this school in many respects continues to be Wisconsin's best kept secret. We need and deserve more of a national profile. We should be mentioned in the same breath as other great J schools, which I won't name, but one of them rhymes with Shimumbia. Raising the school's national profile is essential for funding, for recruiting, and for placing our grads in the best jobs. Not to mention on the personal front, hopefully it can end the frequent question I get about why this East Coaster went to school in Wisconsin. I work for a national news organization in New York City. I've made it a priority to hire recent grads, to bring to campus high-profile guest speakers, to help arrange events, and to help get us featured in national press stories. While all of us gathered here today work in different fields, there are ways we can all contribute. I urge you to think about what you can do, leveraging your own skills and your own resources to help with a sustained approach to get our school front and center on the national landscape. And who knows, maybe it'll finally get us a building upgrade from Vilas. Thank you again for this incredible award. I am so grateful and so honored.
Congratulations, Pete, Karen, and Allie. Now, the 2021 Distinguished Service Award winners are Deborah Blum, Meg Jones, and Marionette Pember. Deb Blum is the director of the Night Science Journalism program at MIT and the publisher of Untitled magazine. She's a Pulitzer Prize-winning science journalist, columnist, and author of 6 books. Most recently, The Poison Squad, a 2018 New York Times notable book. She received her MA from the UW School of Journalism in 1982, and she was the Helen Furstbrook Franklin Professor of Journalism at the University of Wisconsin, a position she held for 18 years. And we still miss her. Let's hear from Deb.
Hi, I'm Deborah Blum. I want to start by saying how incredibly honored I am to get this award from the School of Journalism and Mass Communication. It makes the year, in fact, and makes me even more proud both of what I've worked so hard to accomplish and for being a graduate of the school. I want to also say thank you to everyone who made this choice, and I want to also say what I tell everyone, which is one of the smartest decisions I made in my journalism career, was deciding to get a graduate degree in specialized reporting from the University of Wisconsin at Madison. It transformed my career, in fact, because I had decided I wanted to be a science journalist, and I wanted to have some credibility in that. And since I had an undergrad in journalism, I thought I need to go someplace where I can strengthen those science writing skills and be able to present myself to major newspapers around the country. I was thinking the New York Times at the time, in a way that they'll say, take this woman seriously. And at the time that I got my degree, which was in 1982, there were almost no schools that offered any training for people who wanted to be science journalists. In fact, the University of Wisconsin, with its specialized reporting program, was one of the very few. So I was so lucky to be here, so lucky to be challenged and to learn, to be pushed to think about things like history of science and meticulous research, and so lucky to be part of this amazing community in Madison. Thank you so much. I am grateful in countless ways.
Thanks, Deb. Marionette Pember is currently national correspondent for Indian Country Today. She has worked as an independent journalist focusing on Native American issues since 2000. Her work has appeared in other venues, including The Atlantic, The Guardian, The Washington Post, Al Jazeera, The New York Times, and others. She received her BA in journalism from UW in 1985. Let's hear from Marionette.
This is Marionette Pember. I'm 1986 alumni, University of Wisconsin-Madison Journalism School, and I want to thank you. Very honored for the award, and I'm on the job today, and hoping that I'm not going to get arrested. Actually, it's an action by some water protectors here in northern Minnesota, opposing Line 3. But again, I'm very honored for the award, and As journalists, we often labor in obscurity, but it is nice to receive some recognition. Chimagwich, thank you very much.
Meg Jones was at home virtually anywhere in Wisconsin, reporting on the character and characters of her home state for the journal Sentinel and Sentinel since 1993. She was part of a team named Pulitzer Prize finalist in 2003 for coverage of chronic wasting disease in the state's deer herd. A UW-Madison graduate and former member of the Badger Band and Women's Crew team, the Rhinelander native had a passion for covering weather and military affairs. Sadly, Meg passed away in December. Here to share some memories of Meg is J-School's faculty, Stacey Forster.
Hi, I'm Stacey Forster. I'm an instructor in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication, and I'm a former reporter for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. And I have the honor here of celebrating the career of Meg Jones. A few weeks ago, I was prepping materials for a class that I was teaching, and I went looking for stories that had been written about an explosion in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin back in 2018. And the first story that popped up had been written by Meg Jones, a reporter for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. And of course it was, because if there was news happening in Wisconsin, chances are Meg had written about it. In her more than 35 years as a reporter in Wisconsin, Meg proved she could tackle just about any story, from revisiting the site of a tornado in Siren, Wisconsin, to the Milwaukee Bucks playing in Paris, or organ donation among service members in Germany, or an escaped snake in Fond du Lac High School. As her former colleague Mark Hoffman told me, Meg was up for anything. Meg's mom, Carol, told me that Meg had always wanted to be a reporter and that her storytelling abilities started early. Before she could even write, she documented a family trip to Guatemala with a diary written in hieroglyphics. She grew up and honed her craft as a writer for her high school newspaper, and then writing for the Daily Cardinal when she got to the University of Wisconsin-Madison. She majored in journalism and history, and in typical Meg fashion, before she graduated in 1984, she made the most of her time at UW. She was on the rowing team, and she played the drums in the marching band. Meg was Wisconsin through and through. She spent her entire reporting career here, from stops in Marinette to Shawano, Wausau, before she ended up at the Milwaukee Sentinel in 1993. Not only was Meg of Wisconsin, she was of the world, and if there was someplace on the globe that existed, chances are Meg had visited it. She had an endless passion for adventure and curiosity, and she let that take her wherever she could. And she traveled often with friends and her mom and her Uncle Jack. And this included, trips on the Trans-Siberian Railroad. She played the drums at her friend Jenna Moore's wedding in Turkey and won over an entire family. And 8 reporting trips that she took to Iraq and Afghanistan, where she put her own safety at risk to document the stories of Wisconsin service members who were stationed there. And when she went on those reporting trips to Iraq and Afghanistan, she befriended the soldiers that she met there and their families back here in Wisconsin. Meg was everyone's friend. She was beloved in the Journal-Sentinel newsroom. I spent an hour listening to colleagues tell stories on a YouTube video about her time in the newsroom. And I first got to know her when she was my assigned newsroom mentor. And even though she was 90 miles away, I worked in Madison, she was in Milwaukee, she would call from time to time and check up on me. And she would write me these long letters about the work she was doing and trips she had taken. And even after I left the Journal-Sentinel, she would call me when she was coming to Madison and say, hey, let's meet up for lunch. And we'd get together at the nitty-gritty and we would laugh and laugh. I swear you could hear us from Vilas Hall. And she had stories about the newsroom and places that she'd been and books that she read. And we just had the best time. And when I think about her now, I hear that laugh and I see her beaming smile. I learned later that she did this with dozens, hundreds of people that she'd met in her life. She had friends everywhere. I wish we could have honored Meg and her career in journalism when she was with us to celebrate. That would have been a really great party. But Meg died in December 2020 after a brief battle with pancreatic cancer. So we're honoring her now with this Distinguished Service Award. Although her family and friends deeply feel the grief of losing her, the people who are also missing out are the readers of Wisconsin, who she had this unparalleled ability to tell their stories. Her editor, Gary Krentz, told me he still 3-4 times a week sees stories come across his desk and thinks, wow, this would be perfect for Meg's voice. Congratulations, Meg, on this well-deserved award, and thank you for sharing your gifts with the people of Wisconsin. We were all so lucky to have had your stories, and even luckier to have known you. On Wisconsin, Meg.
Thank you, Stacey, and congratulations to Deb and Mary. Finally, we would like to present awards to some of our faculty and staff in recognition for over 20 years of service in the department. Now, based on the number of years, weeks, and hours, I've made a calculation, and each one of our colleagues being recognized here today have spoken on average 2.5 million minutes to us. Yes, you heard me right, 2.5 million minutes. Now, those of you with quantitative inclinations might be wondering beyond the average, what's the standard deviation? But I'm not going to get into that. Now, based on this, SJMC has decided to award a golden mic to Dave Black, Katie Culber, Lou Friedland, Doug McLeod, Hemant Shah, and Devon Shah. So really a heartfelt thank you, Dave, Lou, Doug, Hemant, Devon, and Katie, who, by the way, just this week won the Scripps Howard Teacher of the Year Award from AJMC. We're very proud for her. Since many of us haven't been able to meet in person for over a year, we've put together this video to share some of the exciting things that J-School has been doing, from student projects to research to awards and more. Enjoy these highlights of the 2020-21 year in review. What an astonishing group that has been celebrated here today. Your successes make us proud and energize us to continue our mission as educators and researchers. Before we end, I want to thank Ashley Toy, our communications officer, who has been very active behind the scenes, our staff, Rowan and Angelina, our student intern, Emily, for their contribution to making this event possible, Public Engagement Committee for coordinating the whole process, our faculty and staff, our awardees, but in particularly, I want to thank your friends, your family, your mentors who have made your achievements possible. Let us know the new things you do and keep on changing the world. Have a great weekend. On Wisconsin.